Graeme, why is it so important to have a good structure for communicating ideas?
Well, it's important because we've all actually got a different notion of what an idea is. A good structure for communicating ideas is just going to make it easier for people to talk to one another about any given idea. A lot of waste can occur in the innovation process, wasted time, delays, dead ends, as a result of just not taking enough time at the outset to properly communicate our ideas. So we find that a simple, repeatable structure just makes it easy for people to describe and talk about ideas across departments, amongst potential customers and even other stakeholders. A good structure will make for faster, easier communication with less waste due to lack of clarity, misunderstandings, and just inaccurate interpretations, really.
Yep. And what's your typical experience when you leave people to their own devices to describe their ideas?
Well, there's three things that come to mind that commonly happen in my experience. So, for example, if you're dealing with a group of engineers, and I say this as a mechanical engineer myself, then when you ask for an idea, it's not unusual that they give you a sketch or a drawing. I know, of course, the old adage about a picture paints 1,000 words. And to be honest with you, that just couldn't be further from the truth when it comes to innovation. We need words, and in fact, we believe that unless you can clearly describe your idea in words, then you probably don't have an idea at all. If you're unable to articulate what this thing is so that other people can easily understand it, then there is much less chance that you can make it happen. Another typical problem is when people use too many words to describe their idea. In this situation, people try to cram as much information as possible into their description. This usually leads to a loss of focus and obscuring the essence of the idea itself. And then you also have the other end of the spectrum where people use too few words for their description. People might use a couple of words or dot points and think that this is going to communicate the depth of the idea and the rationale behind it. This is usually just not the case. So you can tell from this that we think there is some kind of happy medium somewhere.
Okay, and what is the ideal for a structured written idea then?
Okay, well, we like a nice, simple structure. And there are lots of examples of recommended structures for communicating ideas. And for us, we use the mantra of problem, promise, proof. The problem is the problem that we think the customer is experiencing. Any good idea will address a perceived customer problem. And this needs to be clear from the definition of the idea. The promise is just a statement of the benefit that you imagine this idea is going to deliver against that stated problem. You may not be able to eliminate the problem altogether, but what is it that the idea is going to deliver for the customer? What does the customer, internal or external, get from using the idea or putting it into practice? And finally, the proof is just a description of the idea itself, the tangible change, the product, the service, the manifestation of the concept. This might be something about how the idea works, but essentially in just a few words. So in a nutshell, the structure is: who's the customer? What problem are they experiencing? What benefit will come from the delivery of the idea and offer? And what's the proof or theory about how this will work? And the proof in this sense is like a hypothesis, and our theory has yet to be tested on that hypothesis.
Okay, great. And any final tips you'd like to share with us?
Well, you might not believe how simple you need to make it. In the early days of an idea's conception, most people will be trying to buy into the idea, potential customers, potential investors, the boss, colleagues, or other stakeholders. We need to get these various groups on board, but these people are busy, and if they have to work hard to understand your idea, then they just won't make the effort. So we use the guideline that your idea should be described in a language that a 12-year-old could painlessly understand. It's quite a high bar, so keep it simple, keep the words and sentences short, and avoid jargon and acronyms at all costs.